Word 3. Near the cross of Jesus stood his mother and his mother's sister, Mary, the wife of Clopas and Mary Magdalene. When Jesus saw his mother there and the disciple whom he loved standing nearby, he said to her, "Woman, behold your son." And to the disciple he said, "Behold your mother." And from that time on, the disciple took her into his house. Word 3, poeted by Ben Will, sung by the Reverend Ron Todd.
One of the most embarrassing things an adversary can do is whoop your ass in front of your mama. And it's not just embarrassing, it's deliberately disrespectful when the presence of your family's matriarch doesn't bring pause to the adversary's heart for a different approach, a timeout, a rescheduling. When someone has made the decision to whoop your ass in front of your mama, it is because they hate you and they desire to destroy you. It happened to me once. I once received an ass whooping in front of my mother. 'Twas a middle school summer camp bully who wanted to let me know that he hated me and I was unworthy of his respect. For several weeks leading up to the incident, I got called so many explicative words that I started to embrace them as my truth. Maybe if I said it first, they would leave me alone. I was wrong, they did not. Then came the day where I was to receive my ass whooping. My bully had targeted the newly designated area I started to get picked up from in order to avoid him. And after an escalated conversation of profanity and misunderstandings, my mother arrived to pick me up. And my bully, fully aware that my mother was present and watching, proceeded to humiliate me right in front of her, knocking me down, punching me in my face, whooping my ass to the point where I blacked out. I've heard that when experiencing moments of physical trauma, our brains may disassociate and take us to a numb floating place, a place where we may feel safe and distance ourselves from the pain we're experiencing. I sometimes wonder if Jesus went to that place while experiencing the trauma of crucifixion, if at some point of being flogged and bludgeoned and stretched and pierced and crowned with thorns, that perhaps Jesus found himself in a disassociated floating realm that compelled him to focus not on his own wounds, but instead on his mother's safety and protection, calling to his disciple, "Here is your mother," and to his mother, "Here is your son," as if assurance of their connection, protection, and provision made his own pain and sacrifice a little more tolerable. As middle school me returned from the floating place, I remember calling out to my mother, not like Jesus did to protect her, but for my own help. My bully had since run away after successfully whipping my ass, and I, now bruised and bloody, needed support to stand up and get home. I needed my mother's warmth and strength to help me figure out what to do next, and I'm grateful that she was there to guide me back to myself as best she could and assisted me as I processed the trauma I had just experienced. In recent recorded events, another man was documented calling to his mother while enduring the physical trauma of a bully. George Floyd's final recorded words, after enduring a former police officer's knee to his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, were, "Everything hurts, Mama." George Floyd's bully wanted him to know that he was unworthy of respect and instead deserved to be vilified and humiliated and murdered. And George, similar to Jesus, cried for his mother while enduring a debilitating trauma that resulted in his death. George's mother, Larcenia Floyd, also known as Miss Sissy, preceded him in death 2 years before his own murder. And it's recorded that before her own death, she and George Floyd were very close. George had her name tattooed on his chest, and it's documented that Miss Sissy was the center of George's world. And I wonder if in that moment of George's bludgeoned trauma, as that former officer's knee pressed on his neck, did George Floyd disassociate from this earthly realm and drift off to a place where Jesus could intercede and open the heavenly realm to turn a bigoted tragedy into a radical reunion where connection, protection, and provision can manifest again, and in this spatial plane between heaven and earth that none of us can see, did Jesus say to Miss Sissy, "Woman, here is your son," and to George, "Here is your mother"?